So,
Tell me, you know the movies that was made the same time here in the United States.
very well.
Compared to them. What's your impression? I'm saying not about ideology, maybe, or that's not a problem. You can say about ideology. Any differences you see compared to American movies that time?
Yeah,
Tell me.
a lot. I will give you a perfect example, okay? And it's a film, it's very famous, and it's in complete contrast to the first story of Operation E.
Okay. I like how you how you pronounce it.
It's called Cool Hand Luke.
Oh, never heard of that.
Oh, really? Oh, it's a classic. Cool Hand Luke with Paul Newman. So
Okay.
actually, I think it even came out the same year, 1967. In Cool Hand Luke, Paul Newman goes to prison and rebels against the system.
Is it comedy?
No, it's a
But
drama.
this is comedy.
Yeah, this is comedy, but Cool Hand Luke is a drama. And there's a famous line that comes out of this movie. I don't know, maybe you've heard of it or not. It's, what we got here is failure to communicate. You ever heard of that line? Failure to communicate. So, in this Russian Soviet movie, the especially in the first story, it was the importance of conforming, the importance of being part of the system. But in Cool Hand Luke, the message is opposite. It's, okay, I'm in prison, but I'm going to rebel. My rebellion is what put me in prison, and I'm going to, so it was go against the system. Because the late 60s in this country, it was a time of transition for cinema. You saw more stories about rebelling, more stories about pushing boundaries, even in what they showed. Like the content, the violence was more explicit, more sex.
Yeah, sexual revolution, yeah.
Yes, you saw more of this. So it was kind of very much the opposite. And you were telling me in the second story, like the boy and the girl kissing in shadow was like the most we got. In this country, in 1969, 3 years later, the first rated X movie won Best Picture, Midnight Cowboy.
Oh.
Midnight Cowboy. A very sexually explicit movie. Well, for that time, anyway. Maybe not for today's standards, but for the time, very sexually explicit.
Yeah, this is the movie was made in 1965.
Okay, so 4 years later, 1969, the first rated X movie. Now it's NC-17. Won Best Picture. It had Jon Voight and Dustin Hoffman. And it was a gay movie about two gay men.
Wow.
And again, this was rebellion, because to make a gay movie even 10 years before would be unthinkable in this country. Unthinkable. So we were rebelling, the culture was changing, and it's very obvious just from this one movie. There was no rebelling in Soviet in 1965. It was you're part of a system.
Yeah, absolutely.
Part of a system.
Absolutely.
You do not question, and anybody who questions, you're spanked in the ass like the 41-year-old guy who looks 61.
But you know what? This belief about the system, you said about rebellion here in the United States, but in Soviet Union, till the end, probably 6 days before the Soviet Union collapsed, I would say all the people had belief that this system could not be broken. They were convinced in that. They were, that was 100% truth.
Interesting. Yeah.
Not even try to change the system. There is no way. You just obey, and that is the only option you have.
Right.
And I want your opinion. I know about sexual revolution in 60s, but why it happened? Why it was possible? Because of what? Or
I think many things. I mean, there's not a small answer to this question. A lot of it had to do with the Vietnam War. And, okay, what is the opposite of death? Well, sex. Sex makes life, right? The sexual revolution was partially an answer to protest the Vietnam War, which was a war unlike World War II. Most of the country was not supporting because why?
Yeah, the country was divided,
Yeah,
right?
very. I would say like most of the country did not believe in it because this tiny little communist country we knew was not a threat. So that was part of the reason. It was a protest.
But of course it was not a threat. But I thought you went there to help
originally.
democratic.
Originally,
part.
but then when the war dragged on, and more Americans started to die, it was like, for what? What are we gonna change?
Help in democracy.
Yeah, but again, it's like for that was.
I mean, I'm not advocating
Yeah,
that
yeah.
war. I just
You know what I
I'm
mean?
trying to understand.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. You know, like that was in the beginning. But then also the sexual revolution, I think, was a rise in feminism and having, women, own their own houses. More women were going to college. So there were a lot of different factors that led to this. And also to protest against just the generation before. To use movies as an example, in movies before the 60s, if you showed a bedroom, there were always two beds. As if a husband and a wife slept in separate beds, which is insanity. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but you had to do that because of
Right. The
culture.
censorship.
Censorship,
But then
yeah.
in the 60s, you saw okay, we're just going to show a single bed. We acknowledge two people sleep together. Or, like in Psycho, in 1960, became the first movie to show a toilet. To acknowledge that, yeah, people go to the bathroom. It happens. It's biology. So, and I think all of this was coming to a head at the same time. And I can't even remember how we got on the topic, but I think it's just an answer to show how opposite things were to the Soviet Union in this
Yeah,
decade.
it's just
the
like
complete opposite.
Opposite, just another world.
It really was, and Americans were really rebelling not against communism, but against the war, right? I think if we were at war with Soviet Russia, I don't think people would be protesting because that would be an actual threat. Like that is a massive country. Little Vietnam is just like, why are we here? And the more that war dragged on, and also I think also to answer your earlier question about why Vietnam, even more than World War II, people were getting exposed to pictures and video.
Oh, right.
And
That is
this changed
crucial.
people's opinion. And, when we saw video of Americans getting killed or pictures or even Vietnamese civilians, people were like, no, like it had a big impact. Because it was very, Germany and Japan were, the world was at stake. That was a whole different war. But Vietnam was like, what the hell are we doing? This is another good movie, Born on the 4th of July with Tom Cruise. Great movie, because in the beginning of that movie, that movie is this whole conversation, because his character, his name is Ron Kovic, and when he's young, 18 years old, he's like, I'm gonna defeat communism. Then he gets shot and paralyzed and spends the rest of his life in the wheelchair, in a wheelchair. And as an older, mid to late 20s man, he protests the war. And he even writes a book against about why the Vietnam War was
Is it
bullshit.
the real story?
It's a real story.
Oh, okay.
And so he has a complete arc from we're gonna defeat communism to protesting the war in just like 4 years. Because he took a bullet, he can never walk again, never have sex, and for what? For what reason? His life was ruined, never have children, and all because he drank his country's propaganda. And that's all it was in those days. It's propaganda. And look, in 2026, we have people running in public office, like the mayor of New York, who are openly communist. I mean, the whole thing has gone complete 180 degrees.
You mean today?
Yes.
But he's socialist, not the communist.
Yes. Come on. He advocated to abolish private homeownership.
Oh, really? I didn't hear about that.
If you had suggested this idea 50 years ago, they probably would have thrown you out of this. I mean, I swear to God. The mayor of Seattle, same thing. Seattle, basically a communist. So the young generation, again, this is what I was telling you, they don't learn from history. And this is not ancient history. This is 40, 50 years ago. This is nothing. It's crazy. And this is the mayor of the largest city in the country.
And what do you think about that? I mean, do you think it's good or bad?
I think it's horrible.
But what about this gap? I mean, in wealth gap. Obviously, it's pretty.
That's also not good.
I told you
Yeah.
that maybe not all, but let's say all of these theses, all of these arguments from the socialist guy today in the United States, I heard it and I read it in history books already.
Mamdani, yeah.
Yeah, in history books when in 1917 in Russia, they came to the power with all these arguments.
Yeah.
And that's how this communist experiment started. I mean, in Russia. And, okay, 10 years ago, take me 10 years ago, I thought that it was ridiculous because capitalism is the only way. But I came here to the United States because in Russia we had capitalism time, let's say from 1992 till, okay, let's say the beginning of 2000.
Right.
It was real capitalism, but here what I see right now. Okay, let me phrase it like that. For the first time in my life, I don't support communists because it's against my belief. But for the first time in my life, probably, I really feel what they meant.
and I see where you're coming from because what's happening is unchecked capitalism where the top few are hoarding so much of the wealth.
I'm saying not about wealth. I don't mind Elon Musk is trillionaire soon. That's not a problem.
Right.
The problem is the power. That these guys take all the power.
Yeah.
That is the problem.
But in more ways than we even realize. For example, and I don't want to sound ungrateful, but I own a house. When I bought this house, I grew up in a house built in 1988. Okay, this is just one example, okay? The quality of the house I grew up in, built in 1988, versus the house I am in now, built in 2022. Guess which house was better quality?
No, I think you mean that the older house was better.
Everything the materials are so cheap. And I've done a lot of research, Dimitri. They build all houses now. Why? To save money. Because why put real wood cabinets when you can develop a cheaper chemical in a factory, and the cheaper chemical you can make cabinets, they will not last. I mean, I've only been here 4 years. Already my cabinets are looking like shit. 4 years. So my wife and I are going to be forced to upgrade our cabinets, thereby spending more money, right? And so it used to be, we were in a capitalist, but when you bought something, anything, car, house, computer, if you took care of it, it would last you forever. But now they just want you to spend more and spend more. My computer is another example. My old Mac, I had it for 10 years. You know, one thing about me, I take good care of the things I own. I took good care of my old Mac. And yet, with every software update,
it's slower and slower and slower.
And you know what? Sometimes, Dimitri, I swear to God, when it says, do you want to update? I would say no. And it would update anyway. I was like, what the fuck? I asked you not to update. And I know this is intentional. I know that they want me eventually to buy another, and guess what? I had to because I was finishing my book at the time. My computer was so slow, it was unbearable. I didn't want to spend another $1,000. I took perfect care of this computer. I would have owned this computer till I'm 90 if I had the choice. But that's the difference. Modern it doesn't give you the choice. It's forcing you.
Forcing you to get a typing machine.
Yeah. I think I'm really getting close to buying. And this is what I'm saying. I think we're getting to a point where older is better. An older house will save you money in the long run. A typewriter, you will never have to update. So young kids would hear this and go, oh, no. It's getting to a point where Big Brother is watching everything we do and is making us spend more and spend more. I mean, it's crazy. It's just crazy. I don't know how we got on that. It's in response to what you said. I'm not in favor of communism either, but we need to rein in the greed of these guys at the top.
But as I said, Christoph, I don't see a problem that somebody became trillionaire. My point is, it's pretty advanced capitalism here.
Yeah.
Because you had it for the last... Always! You had it always.
Yeah. Free market.
You're still alive and it's still working.
Yeah.
Probably because of the check and balances mechanism.
I'm seeing the edges fray, but yeah, it's still working.
Yeah, it's still working.
Yeah.
Take Russia, for example. For the last 100 years, we rebuilt the country from the scratch.
Yeah.
So, 1917, before 1917, it was absolutely different country. After 1917, it was absolutely different country. And after 1990, it became absolutely different country for the last 100 years. And here, nothing changes.
Yeah.
I mean,
in big, dramatic ways, sudden ways.
I mean, still capitalism, still democracy, still what? Presidents?
The changes are incremental. So, little by little, although the last 20 years, I think there's been a lot of change. But nothing like the fall of the Soviet, nothing like this. But, the closest I think we had to the Soviet Union was the 9/11. That was the closest, because after this, so many laws were passed, like the Privacy Act, where for the first time ever, the government could look at your private information at any time and you have no say-so. That was unheard of, but that's still the case today. Like, the government can look in our phone and we have no power over that. In case we want to be terrorists and blow some shit up, they could tap into our house phones. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that for you it was a big step to less freedom, but I'm just thinking about Russia right now. And ex-KGB guys.
Yeah.
They don't care, Christoph. They can take everything anytime they want.
Yeah. I can imagine.
You have no privacy life. If they want you or anything from you, they will get it the same day.
That's crazy.
The same day. And the funny thing, Christoph, you know what you can do about that? Nothing. Because if you go to court, the same guys will tell the judge what decision he has to make.
Jesus Christ. Wow. Yeah.
And again, I think privacy is important. And I don't like that the FBI can now ruin your privacy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I understand that another part of the world
it's worse.
Had much worse.
But I think as long as this technology exists, the privacy as I knew it as a kid is dead. I don't think it's possible.
I think with
exist.
the ChatGPT.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
Of course, they have some confidentiality rules.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure that you signed something that they will not give your ChatGPT history to anybody. Will not ever.
Yeah. But come on.
Come on.
Exactly. Exactly. But overall, Dmitry, I like this movie. It was very fascinating. It was like a look into a very different culture.
But As I said, Christoph, the funny thing that you can't study the country by these movies.
Right.
Because as I told you, they made another world.
Yeah.
And compared to American cinematography, even comedies, you can literally study American life through your movies.
Yeah.
But you cannot study Soviet life through these movies.
That's why I think a movie we should watch here is Glory, because there's, I think, a lot we can talk about and even connect it to current day situations. I think it's one of the best historical movies Hollywood has ever produced.
And what the year?
1989.
1989. In Soviet Union, they started to
show American movies.
Soviet Union probably from 1970. They started to make movies, social drama movies.
Okay.
Before that, it was like a myth. In movies, you could find myth in movies.
Right.
Myth about working people, myth about robbery, myth about, it was like a, myth about Soviet Union. But in 1970, I guess, more honest movies about Soviet reality.
Yeah.
And one of the main movies of that time, it was a drama movie about Soviet Union prostitution.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was just like a revolution.
Yeah.
But it was the part of the Soviet Union. But people, I think they just didn't want to talk about that.
Yeah, sure.
And do you remember when it was like a lifeline between America and the Soviet Union that time? And they discussed something, I don't remember what they discussed, like TV line. And somebody from here, I guess, said that in Soviet Union there is no sex.
Oh.
And it became like a, you could say today like a meme, but that was the point. We are not like you. We have pure relationships. Look at our movies.
Yeah.
That Keys and Shadow. That's our relationships.
Right.
Not like you. There's no sex in Russia. In Soviet Union.
Yeah.
You know? That's what they tried to do. But this is a movie reality.
Yeah.
But there was real life, and that was sometimes horrible.
Yeah.
And that was a prostitution and the homosexuals. But you couldn't find this information.
But what this movie also taught me is, like I said, it's a glimpse into another culture, another era, but also reminded me that, there was a lot in common too. People, when a guy slips and falls on his ass, you find it funny. It doesn't matter, Russian, American, Charlie Chaplin. Like I told you, there's a lot of Charlie Chaplin in that movie. Like that kind of humor. That physical humor, I think anybody finds it funny. So we have that in common. Those physical, we call them gags. Those gags with the bottle and the sword fight, and then he opens it and finds the booze. We thought it's blood. So this, I think, the universal nature of humor, I think it's also, even though people were on different sides of the world and there's a Cold War, we still found the same things funny.
I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but right now I love this movie because this is my childhood.
Sure,
this is my culture.
Of course.
But right now, when I watched it, I felt like I'm watching not the 60s movie. I mean, this is 60s for Russia.
Right.
It's a little bit like Charlie Chaplin movie. I mean, it reminds me probably the movies 1930 movies, American movies, 1930 American movies. Don't you have this feeling?
A little bit.
It's like 30 years difference.
I feel I did get that vibe a little bit. Because, okay, I'll give you an example. speeding up the film so everyone is running really fast, right? We stopped doing that around the 30s and 40s. So by the 60s, I can't think, and I was thinking in my head as I was watching of a 60s movie that was still speeding up film. You see a little bit of it. Like, for example, in the movie Taxi Driver, at the end, when he goes on his shooting spree, he speeds up the film a little bit at the end. But this was a censorship decision to speed it because it was so violent. They needed to find a way to make it a little less violent, so Scorsese sped up the film. But here they were doing it for comedy, like Chaplin. I can't think of a movie that since the 30s and 40s that sped up the film like that. So I just think, yeah, it was 60s but felt like a 30s movie, but that also adds to its charm.
But at the same time, I told you about Smokey and the Bandit.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, Smokey and the
isn't it
Bandit
the
with
same
Burt
vibe,
Reynolds.
like same vibe, atmosphere. No.
Same tone?
There is nothing serious in this movie. Also.
No.
Yeah, it's 1977 even. Light comedy.
It feels very 70s. You know, I always know a 70s movie in this country, The Zoom. They zoom very quickly. You know, that's a hallmark. They stopped doing that in the 80s. They didn't do the zoom much before the 60s, and they didn't do it much after the 70s. But for 20 years, directors love to zoom very, very quickly. I think 2020s movies they will feel like 2020s with bad CGI. In 50 years, that bad CGI, that was a 2020s film.
Операция Ü.
Operation U? Operation U?
No, you can't say this sound like you need to. Yeah, that's good. No, this. That's good. Yeah, that's good.
That's not a natural sound.